Welcome back, everyone, to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. We're back again at our favorite Lego studio.
Favorite Lego studio indeed.
And as usual, here's Yinka Yusuf.
Hello, people. How are we doing?
And I'm Aki Adeke. Yinka, good
Yes,
to
sir.
see you, brother.
Same here, man. Last time I was Gilbert sat in this chair.
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
it was Gilbert sat in this chair, but the
It
boys,
did- it
the
did
boys
okay.
back.
He did okay, right?
It did more than okay.
He did okay.
It did very well.
We should bring him back.
We should bring him back.
Yeah.
So maybe this time around, I'll give him a stiffer time than you did.
I
because
mean, I'm a nice guy.
the guy
I don't know what to tell you.
he wiped the floor with
Oh
you. man.
my God.
He wiped the floor.
You
with
have
you.
to be nice to your
He
guests.
wiped
Yinka.
the floor with you. And I'm like, Aki, what's going on now?
You don't fight your guests. You know, you let your guests have room, have the floor.
I hear you.
know.
I hear you.
But Yinka, before we get into this, we did something. So today is Tuesday,
Yes.
the 27th
Mm-hmm.
of May. Happy Children's Day in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Elsewhere around the world, I don't know. Is it
You
just
should
in
tell
Nigeria?
me. Is it?
Not,
you
not
have-
in the US.
Not
I
in
can
the
tell you
US.
that.
We
Yeah.
love public holidays in Nigeria.
That's
I've told
true.
you this before.
And in the US, they don't
I think
care
we have
about
like
kids.
16 or
So-
20 or something.
Yeah.
And it's still not enough. It's not enough. I want more.
Yeah. So we did something.
Yeah.
Later today, we will be released. This is our episode 65.
Yeah.
We recorded episode 64 last night
Yes.
as a special.
Yes.
This was the special we announced last week.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of these two old heads
Yep.
hosting the show,
Mm-hmm.
we had our firstborn children. At least they think they are firstborn children.
They
I tell my
are.
daughter.
I can speak for myself.
Host the show.
Yeah.
And
So by the time you guys are seeing this, you would have watched their session.
yeah,
Yeah.
we thought they did okay.
Yeah. They did okay.
Yeah,
They did
I thought so.
they did okay.
I thought so.
Yeah. Kudos to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
great
I
job,
think-
kids.
Great job. I think you should pay them.
I should. Oh, why do I have to? You're the money man. You should pay them.
You should pay them. Anyway.
So that was fun. I stayed up last night watching it. You know, trying to do some pre cutting and
Yeah.
editing,
Yeah.
so we can get it out today. So
Yeah.
hopefully we're able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into it.
Yes, sir.
Yinka,
Yes, sir.
Arsenal won the Champions League.
I
Congratulations to Arsenal.
might cry. Seriously.
So let's talk about it. So obviously, we're talking about the women's Champions League. Second time Arsenal have won the Champions League.
Yep.
First time in 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
Only English club ever to have won it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been dominated by the Lions and
And the Barca's. Barca
Barca's.
feminine.
I think Lyon has won it 8 times.
8. Yep.
Yeah. How many times have Barca won
I
it?
think this is Barca's won it 3 or 4.
Yeah, but pretty much, and they won it back to back as well.
Yeah, they've been dominant.
And so Barcelona beat Chelsea 8-2 on aggregate in the semifinals.
Mhm.
I mean, that just, to get into the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal lost the first leg at home
Mm-hmm.
against Lyon,
Mm-hmm.
and then went to Lyon. Remind me again, was it 4-1?
4-1, yeah.
Beat Lyon 4-1,
So it ended up 5-3 on aggregate.
5-3 on aggregate.
Mhm.
Everyone we know expected Barcelona to win.
Yep.
I believe on our chat group,
Yeah.
it was Arsenal have no chance.
Yep.
Have you watched these women play at Barcelona?
Yep.
It's not gonna happen. What are you
Mhm.
guys talking about? And what did I say? Please tell the people what I said.
He said it's just one game, and anything can happen.
They don't win 38. They don't need to win 38 games.
Just need to win one game.
Just one.
Just one.
That's it.
And that's what happened.
And I had faith.
You had faith.
Yes.
I had faith too.
You sat on the fence.
I
as
sat
you
on the
always do.
fence. I was like, I hear what you're saying. That Barca team is legit,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's one game.
Yeah.
And if Arsenal bring their A game, they can beat Barca.
Why not us? Team of destiny. You know.
Yeah.
So let's tell the people about this team, right? So they had a wobble as the season was starting,
Mhm.
right? It was looking kind of toxic. They let the manager go. The assistant manager, she's like 34 or something.
Yeah.
She's young.
Yeah, she is.
She took over and then they
She
refused to
she
lose.
can put up and play.
Yeah, she could. Well, she injuries, but yeah.
But yeah,
she
she
retired because
she
of
used to be a
injuries.
player,
Yeah.
and she He can play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just refused to lose.
Yeah.
You know, they did not win the league though. They lost to Chelsea,
Mm-hmm.
and so they didn't have another wobble until after they had made it to the Champions League finals.
Yeah.
And then they lost the game after that.
Mm-hmm.
And Chelsea won. Chelsea won. You told me by 6 points. So, congratulations, Arsenal.
Congratulations.
This is especially sweet for me because the one thing Chelsea wants more than anything, aside from having a successful men's team, is to have a dominant women's team.
Yep.
They signed the first £1 million female player
US international.
Yeah, Germer.
Germer.
The defender. They bought a defender for £1 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did that double the previous record? I don't know. I don't know what the previous record was.
I think the previous record was 8. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it was it's
it was a lot. And it wasn't for a defender.
Yeah.
So they won this probably more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I'm delighted that they did not get it. They can have the league. We won the Champions League, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say about that?
No, so maybe talk about the game itself a bit more. So you know the Barca team, the feminine.
Yeah.
That's arguably the greatest, can I say, English club side of all time?
You mean European?
European?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
That lineup is solid.
Especially if you go back 2-3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Even better than what they are now.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So you have Bonmati, you have Putellas. That's like the Xavi and Iniesta of female football.
Yeah.
Then you have Graham Hansen, Parajuelo, Pina, Pavor. That team is loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded.
Yeah.
So when on the group we're saying, nah, this guy's, but the Arsenal team on the day, the game, I told you, that's arguably the best game of football I've seen in a while.
You did say that.
I did say
you
that.
Did say that, yeah.
Apart from the Barca Inter leg, the 2 legs, yeah. I think this is the next. This game is the next. It didn't look like a female team that was playing. The quality of the football was up there.
Yeah.
Up there. Arsenal actually scored, but it was ruled off for offside. Barca hit the post plenty times, block shots. It was a defensive masterclass from Arsenal. And they brought in 2 subs, Beth Mead and Stina Blackstenius. The 2 of them combined for the goal.
Yeah,
Arsenal scored. Stina scored. And they just locked up. They locked up, 7 minutes injury time. I was like, God.
That was nerve-wracking.
So
you saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was at an event. So I saw the last, I want to say 15 minutes plus injury time. And I think it's the most nervous I've ever been in injury time because the 7 minutes felt like 17.
It felt like forever.
But they played it masterfully.
Yeah,
right?
they did.
They wasted time without... I think there was a yellow card in there somewhere.
Yeah, there was a yellow card in there somewhere.
But they wasted time without wasting time. They're frustrated. And by like minute 3, you could see the Barca bench. They were done. They knew there was no coming back. They just knew it. So, it reminded me of when my old club used to play much more experienced teams.
Yeah.
And you just knew there was nothing you could do.
Exactly.
Like when Drogba would rock up to the Emirates, and it didn't matter who the defender was. They were gonna have a tough day. That's how it felt to me. It felt,
Absolutely.
it was almost like, women against girls, almost, which is not what you expect against the team that beat Chelsea 8-2.
Yeah,
I just love saying that.
Couple of side quests just to quickly talk about. Number 1, happy for the coach, René Zegler. Took over from Jonas Eidevall. Jonas. It's the same team, Aki. Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
The only person they brought in was Chloe Kelly. I'm happy for her too. She was rejected at City. She's come to Arsenal. She's won the Champions League.
Yeah.
And she started off in Arsenal. She was an academy product before she went to City. But going back to the coach, Jonas Eidevall had the same team and played people out of position.
Yeah.
And everybody kept on questioning, what are you doing? This lady came in and she just did the right thing.
She let the players express themselves.
Exactly, and the team became pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah.
what's the name? The captain, Kim Little. Kim Little joined Arsenal after they won the Champions League the first time.
Yeah.
So she's been with Arsenal for.
So she's the one who was a ball girl.
No. That's the defender.
That's the defender. Okay.
That's the defender. So Kim Little joined the team after the Champions League. So she's been there 18 years and she's now won the Champions League. Wow. So she lifted, happy for her. The defender, who is England's captain, she's the one that was the ball girl 18 years ago. Now she's lifted the trophy.
That's quite amazing.
And the last point for me will be the road to the final. You cannot say Arsenal did not earn this. You can't beat Madrid, Lyon,
and then
Barcelona and say it's a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. And the quarterfinal against Madrid, first leg 2-0, down 2-0. They had to come back 3-0. Right? Same thing, the Lyon, first leg to Lyon, down 2-1. They had to come back and beat Lyon 4-1. Right? So it was like they were swimming against the stream, swimming against the current, all through till they got to the final. So I'm happy for them. Yeah. The parades, everything. I mean, it was
thousands
fun.
of people showed
Thousands
up.
of people showed up
at the Emirates.
At the Emirates. So congratulations, Arsenal. Well deserved. Now it's time to next season go grab that Premiership of Chelsea. That's what's next.
I know they can do it. So what's interesting to me is this is the team post Miadema, right?
Yeah.
So Miadema, in my opinion, best striker of her generation.
Absolutely.
It just didn't work out for her.
Yeah, at Arsenal. Yeah.
Injuries, all of that. I mean, she's, people say she reminds them of Van Persie. I think that's an insult to her because I think she's a better player than
Van Persie. Only has one foot.
Yeah, she's like a complete player.
She's good,
and she has size and everything. So that's one. It just never worked out. Sometimes you go to a club and it just doesn't work out for you. And then I saw this team in preseason. Against the Washington Spirits. They didn't look special. That's the reality of it. The whatever malaise was there under the old coach. You could see it in preseason. They didn't look like
they should have fired him last season. Actually,
they didn't look.
It was because he won a trophy.
The
League Cup or the FA Cup. I can't remember which one. That was what saved him. Or else he should have been fired. It should have.
And for me, we'll get into this some more when we talk about Spurs. But a end of season trophy shouldn't change anything. Because for me, you are what you consistently do. You know what I mean? Not what you do on one day. You know what I'm saying? And there's a whole context around this Europa. This is the one time.
Well, we're happy that they're keeping hands.
No. I know. I know.
I know.
But I'm saying in previous seasons, what have we had?
Yeah.
We've had the third place, in groups in the Champions League drop to the Europa League. This time we didn't have that. So you have a very, very inferior, Europa
I get what
League.
You're saying.
I mean, it's obvious.
Let's just let it be. Let Ange stay. We want Ange to stay, please. Let him stay.
Congratulations, Arsenal.
Congratulations,
we move
Arsenal.
On.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Europa League. I just started talking about it. Yinka, at the time, 16th place versus 17th place teams in the EPL made it to a European finals.
Yes.
It's blowing my mind in so many ways. But again, there's context and nuance to everything, right? I think this league is as tough as it's been in many instances, even though Liverpool has won it pretty comfortably. But you saw what happened between, third and seventh?
Yeah.
It was a battle. Relegation was not.
Yeah, relegation was a long time ago.
Yeah. In many other seasons, Spurs and Man U would have been relegated.
Yep.
There's been many, many teams that were relegated that had more points or as many points as those two.
Yeah.
And like I just said, the fact that you didn't have people dropping in from the Champions League, it reduced the quality of teams in the Europa.
Yeah.
Right? So which is why they could blow through. They were terrible at home, but they could blow through Europe and get to the finals. I'm totally taking their run for granted. Totally. I don't respect it in any way. Because the Europa League now is not the same Europa League.
It's not.
That Atalanta won.
It's not.
Even a year ago. It's not the same. It's changed significantly with this new format.
Yeah.
But Yinka, have you ever seen a worse final of any European Cup tournament than the one we just watched last week?
So before we started, you brought it to my attention that we might not have watched everything, but of the ones we've watched, this is the worst.
It was dreadful.
It was dreadful. Akin was dreadful. It was like GS2A to B when we were in secondary school.
Yeah.
In fact, I think our games might even be better than, Spurs didn't have any they didn't create any big chance. None. Multiple shots. Let me pull up the stats. Don't let me talk off the top of my head. Let me pull up the stats. Yeah. So, Spurs won 1-0, obviously.
Yeah.
Big chances created, 0.
Yeah.
United
the goal
created, it was a fluke goal. It was an own goal.
Yeah.
And Onana probably should have done better, but that's another, right? United had 16 shots. 14 of those were from outside the box. They were just Hail Marys, right? Spurs had only 3 shots throughout the game, right? And all of them were block shots, except the one that scored.
Yeah.
Aki, was a dreadful match. Yeah? And this is Spurs. So Spurs are happy that they've won. Congratulations to them. If you look at the teams that they beat to get to the final, the highest ranking team there is Eintracht Frankfurt. And that says a lot.
Who should have done better?
Better, yeah? But that says a lot. So the quality of the game, it was bad. Now, United actually, maybe because they were behind, they did seem like they wanted to play a bit more. Yeah. Spurs were, surprisingly, for an Ange team, Spurs were like, you know what, let's sit on our 1-0. That's the first time I'll see that happen from Ange. Or else it's still high line, my way or the highway, this is how I want to play. I was surprised they actually changed tactics for once. And it got him a trophy. Now, I want Spurs fans to continue to live in this, what's the word?
This
fantasy world, right? Because I told you 2 weeks ago or thereabout that the hope of winning something is what's masking how dreadful their seasons have been. Both of them.
Manyika, how can you even say that? Like, you just have to look at the table. So, Man U ended up finishing 15th.
Yeah.
Spurs still finished 17th.
Yep.
18th, 19th, and 20th.
They lost 4-1.
If Spurs were in the Nigerian league, they will be relegated.
Yeah.
Because 4 teams get relegated in Nigeria. So I'm sorry. Like I root for a club where, 8th was a disaster, 5th was a disaster, 5th twice was a disaster.
Yeah.
So how do you look at your team in 17th place and you show your face in public? How do you look at your team in 15th and you ever speak to me again?
So
this is why I hate humans. You're like, how do you do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, the table is there for all to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're telling me you want to pull a Nottingham Forest, who were 17th last season.
Yeah.
And did what? Well, we know you're not about to do that.
You're not about to do that.
Because you know what? They won't sign Nottingham Forest type players.
Yeah.
And then the really, really high price players they want to sign or they need won't come. Because why would they go to you?
So now here's the thing.
Yeah.
They're playing Champions League next season.
No, Spurs are, not Man U.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs. I'm talking about Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs are playing Champions League next season. So that distraction, that play Tuesday, and you're not playing Shakhtar Donetsk, you're not playing Bodo Glimt, you're not playing, you're playing top teams. Yeah. Their punishment is coming next season, Aki. It is almost guaranteed because based on what you said, you don't have enough funds, right, to buy. Even if you do, right, you think people really want to come to Spurs?
No. Even Man U. I mean, like with
Man U in a worse position than Spurs.
Yeah.
We'll get to Man U.
Yeah.
Right. Let's first deal with Spurs.
Okay,
we'll quickly switch. We'll switch to Man U shortly. Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs. The quality of players that they need, right? They're not gonna get them, and they will overpay for average players.
And they might lose players. Kulusevski, is he staying?
I don't know.
Stay if you were Kulusevski?
Champions League might make him stay. So that's the only thing going for them, right? The hope of, the pitch to players will be, come play Champions League. Yeah. So above average players, yeah, maybe players that are who's the best player on Brentford, for example, they might go for Wissa and say Wissa come play Champions League. I mean, those are the kind of things they would do, and they will overpay for Wissa, right? But the bigger problem is you have a coach in Ange who thinks is the best thing since sliced bread, right? Who fails to see his shortcomings tactically every single game. I mean, you won the Europa League.
Yeah.
That euphoria, you could have taken it into the Brighton game and, give your fans something to go for. Brighton spanked them 4-1 in their stadium.
So they sandwiched...
At a shit bowl.
This... Toilet bowl.
Toilet bowl.
They sandwiched European finals win between all kinds of losses.
All kinds of losses.
And a final day loss.
All kinds of losses. Anyway, so that's Spurs.
Okay, that's Spurs. Let's quickly do the next Spurs-related one.
Yeah.
I can't even believe I'm saying this. You put this on here.
Yeah.
The Spurs have a better season than Arsenal. And are you crazy? What kind of question is this? Well, okay, go on.
Why I say this is actually I've seen on social media Arsenal fans saying that Spurs had a better season than Arsenal.
Because Arsenal fans are mostly idiots.
Yeah.
That's why. Again, you only need to look at the table.
This is why I brought this in here, right?
Yeah.
So one guy went as far, two guys went as far as saying they are tired of Arsenal playing in the Champions League. They rather we play in the Europa and the Conference League and they win a trophy than playing the Champions League and not win one. And I'm like, so what you're saying is you'd rather Arsenal relegate and win the championship than play in the Premier League. Are you insane?
So, Yinka, if I was God, I would be really, really, really mean to some of these people. Because I know the average Arsenal fan is 8 years old and has the processing power of a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that long ago that your prayer as an Arsenal fan was, God, give us Champions League.
Oh,
you just wanted to hear the music.
Oh God, let us compete. Let us be relevant.
That's it. There were protests. Remember? First, you were tired of getting spanked 10-2 by
Chelsea.
No, Bayern. Remember?
Yeah, Bayern.
10-2.
6-1 by Chelsea.
And then you went into the Europa. You're like, oh, I would rather get spanked 10-2 by Bayern. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then you got stuck in Europa. You couldn't come out.
Yeah.
And then you didn't have Champions League for 6 years, right?
Yeah.
And then you got in and got to the quarters for the first time in 14 years or whatever. And then you got to the semifinals for the first time since 2009. And that 2009, you were not competitive. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember Kieran Gibbs?
Yeah.
Falling at Old Trafford.
I remember.
You were not competitive. You got beat 4-1 at the Emirates, actually. They were more competitive at Old Trafford than at the Emirates. It was like, man, you were here and you were here.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm not 8 years old. I remember where we were.
Yeah.
To now say you would rather be in a much more inferior competition, like I said earlier, it's way more inferior now than it was before. Because guess what? Now, even Salzburg is not in it because they're in the Champions League and they won't drop down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no one's dropping down anymore. So what are we talking about?
It's insane, Aki. It is completely insane. Yeah. So you would rather play the lesser tournament, be less relevant, so that you can say you won something.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee that you win.
This whole concept of it's all about trophies, it's all about trophies. It's ridiculous, Aki. Yeah. It's ridiculous, Aki. Tell that to Sunderland that just got promoted to the EPL. Tell their fans it's all about trophies. Right? It's all about targets, objectives, and you meeting your objectives. That's what football is about. For the fans, for the owners, that's what it is.
How about you play a league, you play 38 times, only one person can win. And if you come 15th and 17th, you shut your mouth and you don't speak. Because why are we talking about a 15th and 17th place?
We can leave it at
team.
That.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
All right.
Anyway.
I skipped one, Yinka.
Yes, sir.
The kids, I thought, did a great job on this one.
Yeah.
What's the way forward for United? I feel like we've talked more about United on this podcast than about pretty much any other club not named Arsenal. because there's so much to fix.
Too much.
And I don't know, it's almost too easy.
It's too much.
So you want to go for it? Like
no, so I'm rocking a United kit because I'm kind of
trolling them.
I don't want to say troll them, but
you're trolling them.
And I think they deserve it, because whatever happened to Arsenal, and Arsenal lost out of the Champions League, the United fans were the loudest.
They were
the loudest.
Yeah.
Right, and it got to a point I was like, typically Spurs United final, you would think I wouldn't want Spurs to win. You know, I told you this.
Yeah, I didn't care who won.
Yeah, but it got to a point that I didn't care who won because of the noise that was coming out of Old Trafford, or the fans from Old Trafford. Yeah,
because for me, it's not a real trophy. It's
absolutely. But going back to United, yeah, I told you that it is when someone loses that final that they will realize that they've had a horrible season. You should have seen the outcry across board for everybody, and the silence from one of our friends.
Oh yeah,
you could,
all of them.
You noticed what happened.
Oh yeah.
And we were gracious enough. We just let it be. We're like, come on, guys.
It's like punching down.
It's like punching down. It was like, we just let you guys chill. United, a couple of things have happened after the game that just tells me the level of dysfunction. we thought it was here before. It's worse. It's way,
really
way up there.
It's really bad.
It's bad. The level of dysfunction. Garnacho's brother came out first and said a bunch of stuff. Then Garnacho doubled down on it, only for us to hear that the coach had a meeting in front of everybody and said, I'm here next season. Garnacho, you ain't. In front of everybody.
But how are you sure you'll be here next season?
But no, he must have had a meeting with the owners, and they must have given him a vote of confidence.
You know something Rehan said on the last episode.
Yeah.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
He reminded us that when Amorim came in, there were, I think, 4 points off top 4. I can't remember exactly how he said it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finished in 15.
So
again, I've given all the excuses. These are not his players. He brought the same thing up. Not his players, he plays a back 3. They don't play back 3. The wrong personnel. But there's no coach in the world that will come in at that point.
Is not the personnel. We keep giving them a pass with personnel. Anthony is in Betis. He's looking like prime Lamine Yamal. Maybe I exaggerated, but you get my point.
I get it.
McTominay is the player of the season in Syria.
Yeah.
So it's the culture.
Yeah.
It is not the personnel. They have a decent squad. It is, I didn't say they have a good squad. I said they have a decent squad. The problem with them is in key positions. They have people that have turned themselves into fixed assets. You can't move them.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper Onana, he needs to go. I've told you 1,000,001 times. De Gea is 1,000 times better than him.
Yeah.
They traded down, bringing in Onana.
They did.
We want a keeper that can play to foot.
No.
But you don't have players that can receive the ball and defenders that are comfortable playing to foot.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
There's just there's been so many missteps. And that's what happens when, like you said, when the culture is toxic.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper was a bad idea. None of the defenders is great. I don't think any of them. And Mazraoui is okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
What was the name of the other guy? Youngish guy,
Dogu.
mid-20s. No. Mid-20s. I can't remember his name. He plays on the wing sometimes. Can't remember his name.
Ahmad Diallo.
No. In defense, he plays the wing back positions.
Dallo.
Yeah, Dallo. So he's decent, but I think things really, really started going bad when they brought Casemiro in and paid a massive giant fee for him. Casemiro is the kind of, should have been a Jorginho signing.
Yeah.
Which, come up the bench once in a while.
Yeah.
But they didn't, I don't think they scouted him, Yinka. I don't think they scouted him. So his legs were gone.
Yeah. They just saw the Champions League winner available let's pay for him.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this guy can't receive the ball with confidence anymore.
Yeah.
He definitely can't run. You know what I mean? He can still pass, but he can pass in a league where you give him time. In England, where they let you break legs, you know, and then you move forward. You know, Bruno Fernandes actually had a good season.
Yeah, he did.
But I saw a snippet of something on social media where they were talking about his GAs and how I think he had the second highest in the top 5 leagues. Then I broke it down that he did all his damage against the bottom 10 teams. You know, his goals and assists were against relegation sides. You know, I think he scored like 4 times against Leicester.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I'm like, man, this is not good.
It's not good.
This is not. So it's not good. It did his best, but you kind of need a 23 to 25-year-old Bruno Fernandes, not a 31.
Yeah.
You know, and then Garnacho. I'm like, will Garnacho be top 15 young player in England based on what he did last season? Not based on talent. But based on production,
the talent is there.
Nobody runs at Man U.
Garnacho will go to somewhere else and will become a fantastic footballer.
With that attitude, it won't. It's the attitude now.
No.
You
know? So I hear you.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that this is coming up. So it tells me there's something else happening. There's something else happening. You can't go from the young kid with the bicycle kick, United's, next big thing, then all of a sudden you're not, because a coach comes in and decides to throw you under the bus and says you don't run, you don't do this, you don't do that. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
No. But since Amorim came in, when Garnacho has played, he's actually put in the work. He has. And that's what he's saying. I've done almost everything you asked me to do, but you still keep throwing me under the bus, more or less. So the boy wants to leave. So all he did, what his brother did, what he did, is all geared towards, I want to get out of here.
Does he still want to go to Chelsea?
It
sounds like a Chelsea player to me.
Chelsea it fits the profile. Is young, is prospects, which is what Chelsea is looking to. Their coach said one ridiculous thing, by the way. He said they are the youngest team to qualify for the Champions League. I wanted to slap him, Maresca.
Oh,
I wanted to slap him. Who's talking about age here? We're talking about money. You spent over £1 billion. Shut up. Anyway, going back to United. So for me, the way forward, I like Amorim, but I'm not too happy with the way he's handled this whole situation. And I think losing, maturity, you need more maturity when you're on the losing side. You need calmness. I don't think he has displayed that with all this calling a meeting, telling somebody in the meeting that you need. For me, that's distasteful. On the pitch is worse for them. Now they need to pay Adidas money because they didn't qualify for the Champions League.
Ouch, I didn't know that.
Yeah, part of the deal. Now they need to pay Adidas, is it 10 million per year or something?
Wow.
Yep. So there is no European football next season for them.
Of any kind.
Of any kind. Of any kind, right? The owners are not putting down the money. So now they need to sell, right? To be able to buy. They put Rashford on the market for £40 million.
Who's going to pay £40 million for Rashford?
Nobody's going to pay. Nobody's going to pay that. So who's their most prized possession right now that can get funds for them? Is Bruno.
Yeah, if he goes to Saudi.
Yeah. And that's so it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. They don't want to get rid of Bruno, but they might not have a choice.
Yeah.
The rebuild that they've been doing for 6-7 years, Akin, it hasn't gone anywhere. They are back to ground zero. Why am I saying ground zero? They're back to minus like their goal difference. It's bad. So way forward, just do what you have to do. Get the young boys and just pray and just think of this as a 5-year plan. Yeah. You're not going to get out of this rot in a season. It's impossible.
So I would say they need to be Brentford, Brighton, Nottingham Forest.
Absolutely.
That's your ceiling right now. So you need to get players with that kind of attitude.
Yep.
And stop anointing players who haven't done anything.
Yep.
Just because they wear a Man U shirt. And never let Gary Neville speak again, ever. Don't let him anywhere near your club. You should clone, what's the name of their crazy captain?
Roy Keane.
Yeah. clone Roy Keane
Yeah.
and post like one Roy Keane by everybody's locker to like
Yeah.
smack people around every day.
Absolutely.
Because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
Like he does not overrate players.
Yeah.
Roy Keane would tell you,
No,
what have you done?
You
know,
ain't nothing.
I've seen the greats. You're not one of them.
You're not one of them.
You know, but Gary Neville, anyone who's ever worn an academy shirt at Man U is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
You know, it just needs a little tweak. No, shut up.
Nah.
You know, so like
it's
they need to banish Gary Neville.
Yeah.
You know, he's gassing all these boys up. They're not good. You know, none of like the concept of hard work is no longer in their DNA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like these guys don't run. Literally, like the stuff we were talking about Real Madrid, where their forwards run the least in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Man U will be close.
Yeah.
If they were in Europe.
Their midfield is just a disaster. The whole team is. Actually, the whole team is. Anyway,
right.
Good luck to United.
All right. So moving from Europe, let's go to the EPL. Inka, let's do a very, very quick debrief of the season that was. Why don't you give us your team of the season?
No, why don't you give us your team of the season?
Fine, I got to do everything around you.
Yeah,
that's okay.
You have to.
All right,
you
and
give
then,
us your team of the season,
and
I'll critique it.
You won't give us yours? You have to.
I would agree or disagree with you
okay.
as we move on.
I think you will be surprised at some of mine, and then I'll crown
let's see
a player of the season as well. So my goalkeeper is Sels from Nottingham Forest.
Has to be.
So he ended up being, I think he split the Golden Glove
with Raya.
With Raya.
Yeah.
It could have been Raya, but you know, Raya was playing with better defenders, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think Nottingham Forest's spine started, you know, with this guy.
Yeah.
It's just so solid.
Solid. Undisputed number one goalkeeper in the EPL last season was Sels. Yeah.
My right back is Timber from Arsenal.
Okay.
My center backs Van Dijk. I had Gabriel, but because of the injury, because for me there were three people that I was considering for the other center back position: Konate, Gabriel ahead of Saliba. You know, again, performance over talent. Saliba has the most talent.
Yeah.
Milenkovic from Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, Milenkovic will be my pick.
Yeah, but I think because when it's that tight, if you don't play all the games, it's not anyone's fault.
Yeah.
Gabriel has to drop out, so Milenkovic goes in
with Van Dijk.
With Van Dijk.
Okay. We're still in agreement.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
Maybe Timber, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Still in agreement.
All right. And then for the left back, I tried not to be sentimental. I was gonna go Miles Lewis Kelly, but he didn't play all the games.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth.
Fair enough.
I
hate to say this. It was between Kerkez and Cucurella.
Yeah.
Cucurella had a very good season.
And you know you would never be Cucurella for me.
I know that Cucurella for you because you don't like it. But I'm being objective, right?
Yeah.
He went back to the Cucurella Brighton.
Yeah, he went back to basics.
Yeah, went back to basics. And I think that Spanish success and being starting left back for Spain actually helped him bring back his confidence.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So, Cucurella, Kerkez, but good point.
Okay, so this will make your day. My holding midfielder is Gravenberch. I know that's like your favorite player ever. For me, he had a fantastic season. Again, when you're doing your job and no one's talking about you, but your team's winning, you know. So it's not flashy. It does all the basics just perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a 4-3-3. Obviously, that's what pretty much everyone plays now. For the other two positions, I thought about McAllister. I'm just telling you the people I considered.
Yeah.
I thought about McAllister. I thought about Bruno, but I hate Bruno, so it was never gonna be him. So Declan Rice in one position, and McAllister in the other.
Okay.
Okay, we'll figure out how they play.
So
it's Gravenberch and McAllister and Declan Rice.
Worthy mention Eberechi Eze.
Yeah, I thought about that too. But for me, honestly, it doesn't work hard enough for me. He can float a little bit.
Fair point.
Yeah, he can float a little bit.
The Newcastle boys, worthy mentions. Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes.
Yes.
Worthy mentions.
But one's a cheat and one's a cheat.
Which one is the cheat now?
Tonali.
Okay, I thought it was Guimaraes.
Yeah, and Guimaraes, I just don't like him.
But those two boys,
I would agree.
Yeah. And Morgan Gibbs-White, worthy mention.
Okay. Well, would you play him as a winger?
No, he didn't play as a winger.
Yeah.
So he played in midfield. Yeah. So I think McAllister had an okay season, not really a spectacular season. So I might have to.
Okay.
Same thing with Declan Rice. Declan Rice had, at the beginning of the season, he was just okay. The latter part of the season, he
really kicked it up. Yeah.
He was arguably Arsenal's best player.
Held the team together.
No. So I don't mind Declan Rice being in there. McAllister might replace McAllister with, I don't know. But let's leave McAllister.
Let me do mine, and then you can do yours.
No. I'm just critiquing yours. I'm just critiquing yours.
But so one thing I would say for McAllister is, again, not flashy. You know, we've been watching him for a few years now. He still has the ability to shock us. You know, every time he scores for me is a shock because I don't see him as a goal scorer. You know, every time he tackles somebody, I'm like, this guy's this tall, like, you know, and the amount of ground he covers, you know, so he's like the perfect modern, you know, midfielder.
Yeah.
Where, like, what are his attributes? You know, if the EPL had a combine like American sports do, it would fail on every count. Like, it doesn't have the measurables. It's not big. It's not strong. It's not super quick. You know, it's not in a foot race. It's not gonna beat a lot of people. But his intelligence and all that. Anyway,
fair enough. Fair enough.
This is the hardest one.
Okay.
Right.
Front three.
Yeah, front three. The left. No. The for me.
Okay.
You know, right is easy. It's Mo Salah.
Yeah.
Striker is easy. Is Isak.
Okay,
that's easy. Left wing was tough.
Okay, so who did you
put
I
cheated.
Okay, who did you put Martinelli or what?
No, Gibbs-White.
Oh, you put Gibbs-White there.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I cheated. Yes. Look, for me, it will always be a winger. You know, I know he could play the 10. He could play he could play left it, right it. I don't think there's a lot of really, really great, you know, left of the front three options in England. So that means my 11 is Sells, Timber, Van Dijk, Milenkovic, Kirkes, Gravenberch, Rice and McAllister, and then Gibbs-White, Isak, and Mo Salah.
Okay,
and my player of the season is Salah.
It's Salah. So it's player of the season for me too is Salah. No contest. I would have cheated a bit too in your whatever. I think Brandon Mbeumo has to be there.
I thought about that. That was close.
So I just said front three is Mbeumo, Salah, Isak. Yeah?
Especially when Wissa was injured. Was Wissa that was injured? Especially, he really, that's tough. Yeah.
Mbeumo front three, Salah, Mbeumo, Saka, right? Isak, right? I'm taking McAllister out. I'm putting Gibbs in McAllister's position.
Okay.
Gravenberch, Rice, right?
Then, so you have Rice too.
I have Rice.
Okay.
I have Rice too. Then the back four, I agree with you. Timber, I know.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's the one.
I know was
then
better going forward. Both were solid defensively.
Yeah.
I know it was better going forward.
Yeah.
I know played, in a worse team on paper. But Timber, what it did coming from ACL, you're not supposed to play that many games with that level of intensity.
And was playing out of position.
I was playing out of position. I think this is now his
maybe
position.
He doesn't even have a position.
Maybe this is now his position.
Yeah, because he can play left back, center back, right back, center midfield.
I think is now arguably to me one of the best defensive right backs in Europe.
Yep.
defensive.
Yeah.
I think his offensive game is not as
But
refined.
watch next season, he's going to start at left back.
Why? What will happen to...
Because Ben White will take his back.
No. MLS.
Skelly's going into midfield. Skelly will eventually be a midfielder. It was not... See, this is an anomaly that he started.
Okay.
You see, you need to be careful with teenagers. So... And you could see second leg Champions League in Paris.
Yeah, it got exposed.
Yeah. So, no, I'm not saying he's a horrible player, guys. That's not what I'm saying. He's a fantastic player. But I think next season, the minutes will regularize.
So you're thinking Ben White will go back to right back?
I think Ben White goes back to right back, right? Timber, Calafiori, a lot of mix will happen across board.
I forgot about Calafiori.
A lot of mix will happen. But Luis Kelly was a midfielder from day one.
Yeah.
He for me, he will be a better left 8, right?
Than Merino. So what will happen to Rice with Zubimendi on the team?
So it depends on who you're playing.
Yeah.
And this is what we need. You need multiple options for multiple games. You need to be able to bring people off the... I don't want to see a Butler or a DJ on the bench. What are we doing?
Yeah. You know he's never going to play.
He's gone. He's leaving after this season, Yeah. So, I agree with your team. So, it's only Aino, Timber, and it's...
Choose one. You can't sit on the fence. Choose one.
Aino for me.
Okay.
And I left back to... I'd go Cucurella, frankly.
Cucurella. So, we have the same team... But you don't have McAllister.
I don't. And I'll take out McAllister. I have Gibbs White.
And then you have Aina right.
Yeah.
And
Cucurella left.
And then
Mbeumo front.
Okay, it's not bad.
That'll be my team.
7 out of 11 ain't bad.
Ain't bad.
All right,
anyway.
Cool. Let's move on from the EPL to Serie A. So it did come down to the last day.
It did.
It did come down to the last day.
Mm-hmm.
Napoli won the Scudetto.
Yeah.
And now, is Conte gone or going?
We don't know.
Okay.
But it seems as if he's going.
So, you know what I always say? This man's insane.
He's a madman.
He's a genius, right?
Madman.
What Man U needs to do, and I love Amorim. I think Amorim is actually a really good progressive coach. But Conte has done this before. Let me finish.
Conte will not last 3 months.
Hold on.
The culture doesn't fit.
Hold on, Yinka. He just did this with Chelsea. Not the exact same position. Chelsea finished 10th.
Yeah.
He came in, bulldozed his way into things, and they won. They had Eden Hazard. I know. Go on.
They will not let him.
I understand.
That's the problem. Chelsea, they let him, and it got to a point they said, "You're becoming too powerful."
I understand.
Same thing going on at Napoli. They let him. United will not let him.
Okay.
That class of 92, those boys...
I understand.
They
were negotiating with Conte.
Yeah. I heard.
It didn't work. So, I think Man U is a long-term fix.
Okay.
Right? I think they're going to need several iterations of coaches to get there.
Why are we talking about Man U again?
They may never get there.
About Conte.
But I'm just saying, he's done this before.
Yeah.
With Chelsea. Chelsea were in a similar position.
Yeah.
10th with that level of talent, because Chelsea actually had players.
Yeah.
And they came to because nobody cared. And he whipped them into shape, and then he was gone after 18 months because that's what he does. But anyway, so McTominay was player of the season.
Yes, he was.
We kind of predicted that was going to happen.
Yes.
The first time you said it, I thought you were crazy, but it did happen. So one, again, you're asking why are we talking about United, but did they make a mistake getting rid of McTominay?
Of course they did. Of course they did. So it just shows you, I think we talked about this earlier on, it shows you that the personnel is not the problem for United. It's the culture, it's the style of play, it's top, the country, the tone at the top, as it trickles down to the coach through. That's the problem with United. And when McTominay was at United, you could see that he had this in him. He popped up several times with critical goals for United. And only for him to say, you are the one that is surplus. How can he be the one surplus to requirement? How on earth is he the one surplus to requirement at United? And he's gone to Napoli. This guy was banging in goals constantly. Yeah, I think he scored more than Lukaku this season. I can double check. He probably did.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Probably did from midfield, right? But so definitely United made a mistake.
Yeah.
Made a silly mistake of getting rid of him. He's better than what they have right now.
It's so funny because we always thought, who would you say was his Man U comp from back in the day? You know, Darren Fletcher when he was at Man U. Who did he kind of remind you?
Or Lee Sharp?
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no one ever thought like Player of the Year comp.
Yeah.
When he was
Yeah.
at Man U.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, another Darren Fletcher, run around a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't disappoint you, does what the coach says to do. But then when you have a real coach telling you what to do.
So look at McTominay, Lukaku were at United how many seasons ago?
Yeah.
See what Conte has done with them, right? And so Conte got lucky also. I get it. They dropped points the penultimate game of the season.
But so did Inter.
Inter, unluckily, by the way.
Yeah.
Pedro,
about it.
it was crazy. Anyway, but give it to Napoli and Conte. That last game, what's his name? Lukaku scored a beauty, right? Bullied, what was this tall Colombian guy, Yena, that was, is he? That was at Everton.
Yeah, I know
that tall guy.
Yeah.
Bullied the life out of him. Bullied him, scored a fantastic goal. They won, well deserved. Out of the top four, I think they had the least goals, and
they considered
the least also.
57 or 58 goals.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
you know, I think Inter finished with like 18 more goals.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Ridiculous.
If you think about it, that's like an extra 0.5 goals a game. You know, that's
going
insane.
Back to Napoli. Now Conte says, "I want to leave. I think he wants to go to Juve
because he's never satisfied.
No,
I
think
why would he want to
first love.
Yeah,
is Juve.
But he's been there.
But he was the captain. He played for Juve. He captained Juve. That's his team.
How long before he's tired of Juve as well?
Nah. So I think Juve need him more than he needs Juve at this point. So I think he's just gonna tell them, these are my demands.
Who is the interim at Juve right now?
I don't even know who he is.
Because they got rid of
Thiago Motta. Yeah. Right. So I think he's going to Juve.
This is crazy to me. Like it's worse than Mourinho in this sense. No, seriously. Because when Mourinho says, I love a place, he actually stays like 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this guy is like 18 months.
No, so even at the beginning of the season, himself and De Laurentiis, or what's his name, they've been fighting for different reasons, right? I don't want Osimhen. You have to get Osimhen. All those nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And I understand Kevin De Bruyne is actually about to put pen to paper for Napoli.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, I'm looking at Conte. I'm like, you're playing Champions League next. Okay, Juve is playing Champions League anyway. You're playing Champions League next season. You're the champs.
Chance to coach.
Just stay.
All right.
Stay and develop this. Anyway,
let's keep going.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna talk about Osimhen, but I'll leave that to transfer rumor, even though it's not a transfer necessarily. Let's talk about La Liga real quick.
Yeah.
So Mbappe moved this season.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little stumble at the beginning.
Yeah.
Still scored more goals than any other Madrid player in their first season ever.
Yep.
More than Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
Ronaldo went there as a Ballon d'Or winner.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, has Mbappe proven that he's the top dog in Madrid?
More than. He has. He got there and he kind of told Vinny and what's his name? Bellingham. Those two, they're like, guys, just sit down. This is my team now. You remember that movie? Is it what's
I'm
the
captain now.
Look at me. I'm the captain now. That's what he more or less told them. Like, guys, this is me. Every other person have the subpar season. But if you look at him, it will be difficult for you to say, Mbappe, you are the problem at Madrid, right? It will be difficult. Okay, let me rephrase that. You would say, right, that out of all the dysfunction that's happening at Madrid, you are still the only one that still found a way to get stuff done and deliver. The other people have taken multiple steps back. Vinny in particular. Vinny in particular.
Okay, keep going.
And maybe the problem is there are too many cooks there. If you get what I mean. There are too many superstars that are not meshing, right? And you need a what's the game? That's this Messi thug. What's his name again? Rodrigo De Paul.
Oh my God, the thugs.
Maybe that's what.
If that man tackles you, God help you.
Stay tackled. Just stay tackled. Maybe that's what is missing. So there's so many. I'm the big dog. I'm the big guy running around Madrid. I told you. I think Vini should go. I think if I'm Madrid, I'm selling Vini. I'm surprised they're selling Rodrigo instead.
But I knew it was gonna be Rodrigo, right? So he's not as flashy. So again, Madrid is about mega stars. Rodrigo is not a megastar. Rodrigo is a very good player. Like I said, he's my favorite of that front four, right? But, my brain tends to not behave the way, crazy football fans, brains behave. For me, Rodrigo is my favorite. That's who I'd rather watch. But if you look at his production, goals and assists, is G plus A, was it even 15? I think it was like 10 or 11.
He's being played out of position.
All of that is true. But
he's the only one that they've said, we're going to play you out of position. Because, going back to your point, he's not at the same level of being a superstar like the other ones. Yeah.
It's not a megastar. So, Madrid won Galacticos. Vini is a Galactico. You can say whatever you want to say about him, but he can sleepwalk his way into 30 goals in a season. You wake up and he has his 30 goals. It's quick, it's fast, all of that stuff. He can be intelligent when he chooses to be.
But Mbappe is not. Right now, this is the problem. So out of the two of them, like two alpha dogs fighting for, and one has come out to say, not really come out to say, but one has proven that, hey, this is my team now. Right? So now you're having Vini performing at a level that is way below what we know Vini to perform as.
Because Mbappe has elevated. So, Yinka, point counterpoint.
Yeah.
I'm not as impressed with Mbappe as you are.
No, I'm not as impressed too. I'm just see, they say in the line of the blind, the one-eyed man is the king. That's what's going on here.
For me, you know how I feel about goals. I love watching them. They don't tell me the whole story. Right? So, I want to be careful how I say this. I think Mbappe makes very intelligent runs. I don't think he plays intelligent football.
Be careful.
I know. That's why I'm trying to be careful how I say. This is what I mean, right? When I think about other players in his position, one Thierry Henry.
Yes.
For example.
Hold on.
Even Raul. I know, but even Raul, right? When people talked about holding the line, what do you say again? When the number leading the line, all of that hold up play. Raul was this big.
Yeah.
It was doing hold up play at like this size.
Yeah.
Because he was a connector. Mbappe is not a connector. Everyone has to work for Mbappe. That's not his game. And I'm seeing him. I'm like, you're still so young. Why is it that you're unable to change your game? So like I said, he makes intelligent runs that lead to goals for him. But he doesn't always play intelligent football.
You can't. I hear you. And I actually agree with you that he's not maxing out his talent. But you can't argue with 31 goals.
No, I know. But see, that's the thing. I don't want to get seduced by but okay. The last time they played Barca, I think the 4-3 that almost became a 5-3.
Yeah.
So you remember the last goal he scored? He scored a hat-trick.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you remember the last one?
Yeah.
The Vini pass?
Yeah.
Vini could have scored that goal. This is what I'm talking about. Even Vini is doing some intelligent things off the ball, with the ball. Mbappe is just making one run. It's devastating when it works. But when the rest of I'll say the same thing for Bellingham. Bellingham burst into the scene. Now it seems like
Bellingham is a false nine. That's his position. That's for me. That's his position, and that's why when he came in Madrid and he played that false nine, was the highest goal scorer for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But now you're asking him to do something different because you now have an Mbappe that has 40 goals in him.
But for me, Yinka,
and hold on, Vini has now been relegated to an 11 goals, 8 assists player. Is that what you is that?
No.
You see what I'm saying now?
Okay, so this may be, how do I put this? This may be, Bellingham may be the biggest beneficiary of the new coach coming in, right? If he decides it's not going to be a Steven Gerrard or worse, Frank Lampard.
But that's who he is.
But hold on, but he's still so young. He can still change, right? His football education is not done.
Yeah.
Right? So Gerrard played next to Alonso, didn't change his game. So it's up to Bellingham. Are you going to change your game? Are you going to be intelligent? Are you going to turn into a modern midfielder? Or are you just going to be roaming around?
I think we've said this. Is Dele Alli 2.0.
That's disappointing.
Is Frank Lampard 2.0.
That's disappointing.
That's what it is. It's just that he has a footballing brain that can let him play other positions at an above average level.
Yeah.
But he's not elite in those. For example, he can't play center midfield above average, but he's not elite there. He can play defensive midfield above average, is not elite there. Where he's elite is that false 9 position where he'll make runs into the box and score.
Inside 8. Yeah, Frank Lampard.
And he's not skillful enough to be a cam. He can. So
it's
once again, he can play that position above average. Is not elite there. So it's that dilemma you have, and it maybe will take a Mourinho looking at maybe what Mourinho did to Mikel Obi, say, young man, I know you have the brains to play multiple positions. You are not a center midfielder. You're not a defensive midfielder. Maybe that's what needs to happen to Bellingham, right?
But what's his best position?
It's false 9. It is false 9. It's the Lampard,
but you can't
Dele Alli
false
position
9 where you have Vinny and Mbappe.
So you see, we're going around in circles. It goes back to the problem that Madrid have. Personnel right now, some hard decisions need to be made, right? Individually and collectively as a team, how you intend to play. Yeah? You cannot... Mbappe... We'll talk about PSG shortly. Mbappe leaving PSG, dropping 31 goals and not winning anything, it's not going to last for too long.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that. They'll win something.
No. I'm not saying he will fade. I'm saying his patience will run out.
Yeah.
And we know what Mbappe can do.
It will demand changes.
And if he doesn't get it, he's going to leave.
Yeah.
He's going to leave. Anyway.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Inka, let's go to our worthy mentions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we moved Arsenal women up. So let's go to the transfer rumors. We've talked about Rashford. Anything. Let's make this one quick.
Yeah.
Rashford, should anyone be interested? Anyone in particular? Should Villa want him?
So Villa are the ones that declined.
Okay, they declined. Ooh.
So Villa, I think they had an option to buy.
Okay.
I believe. I might be wrong with this, yeah? But I believe they had an option to buy. But it's going back to United now. Now, I think not making Champions League was a key decision for Villa in doing this. But I think Rashford did enough at Villa to warrant somebody making a punt on him, right?
Yeah.
Rashford, right? Nicholas Jackson, right now, based on what I saw, what he did at Villa, I'd pick Rashford ahead of Nicholas Jackson.
My issue with Rashford is the same. If you're a team that needs to work hard, so that's a Brentford, Brighton, Nottingham Forest. You can't get by on skill and dancing around. You have to outwork every opponent. To get the success you need. You don't trust him to work hard for 38 games. That's the thing. So maybe he needs to go to Napoli. Syria, not necessarily Napoli. Maybe he needs to go.
Or maybe Barca might come back in for him because they were in for him before.
Well, what would he do? I would rather have Ferran Torres.
He will score goals.
I would rather have Ferran Torres.
That's what he will do. He will score goals. And the defensive discipline that you're asking for is not there. There's more freedom to play. He might actually be a success at Barca.
But it's not the technical. It's not that technical.
Stick him up front. Stick him up front.
Okay.
He'll be fine. If you have pace, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, sometimes they leave Lewandowski behind because the man is old.
He can't run.
He can't run anymore.
That's true.
So if you have Rashford, it might actually work. Yeah?
All right. All right, Florian Wirtz. So we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Is the 150 million pounds? Is that real?
It is real, and I understand Liverpool have put in their first bid. They came down a bit, but there'll be incentives. It'll eventually get up to 150.
I think that's crazy.
With incentives and the rest of
insane.
it. Yeah. Is it worth 150?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And is it what Liverpool need
right now? Absolutely not.
No, I don't see it.
Absolutely not. If I'm Liverpool, I'll be worried about getting a striker.
I'll be worried about who's their third centre back. I'll be worried about that.
Striker, third centre back. Yeah. They need a left back. They need a left back. They need a right back. Liverpool actually need they have a couple of holes they need to plug. But for the right back, they get him Frimpong.
Yeah, which not bad. 35 million. That's not bad at all.
Not bad. But Frimpong is Alexander-Arnold 2.0.
Is a little more coachable.
But
I know. He was a little more coachable.
Frimpong is the right midfielder.
I know. I understand.
That someone looked at him and said, "You're fast enough. You can play right back." Defending is not pace only.
I know.
And you're coming into the EPL. I'm taller than him.
But he also understands English ball. He came out of Man City, so this one.
I can short. That's why his Ghanaian mate that's at Brighton. What's his name?
Lamptey.
Lamptey. Yeah. That's why Lamptey couldn't cut it.
Yeah.
Because people will exploit your height.
Or speedy.
Yeah, I know he's speedy.
Yeah.
So, see, what does height help in defense? So, you're defending the corner kick, they put you on the goalpost. They put the ball up, you jump, you still can't reach it.
The one thing I would say, so I think in terms of just playing the ball, I don't think is Trent, right? I'm not as enamored as English people are with Trent's passing or whatever. Like, I don't need passing from my... from my right back. But I think the actual work of inverting, I think it will be better than Trent. Because for me...
No, but he overlaps.
I know. He can overlap. So
he overlaps more. So he's not, like I said, he's a winger. He was a winger. He is a winger. That someone has looked at and said, you know what? Go play right back. Now, how does that work with Salah? Salah hogs the byline. The main reason why Trent inverts is because Salah always hogs the byline.
But in my opinion, it would do the inverting way better than Trent. I'm not as impressed.
I don't think so.
I'm not as without Trent's crossfield passes. Do you even notice him inverting?
I get what you're saying with Trent not being the best in midfield.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. The only thing he has is this long pass. He doesn't have the skill set, the guile, the confidence.
He has a dead ball thing too.
Yeah. But I'm saying Frimpong doesn't have that either.
But honestly,
what
else could you have done?
He has pace.
What else could you have done?
A right back.
Yeah.
No.
For 35 million euros, what else could you have done? They did the best they could.
You
can go a different way and get a defensive.
You can get a line.
A line, okay, yeah, I would.
You can get a line, because he, for me, this season elevated significantly. He was superb, But Liverpool are getting Wirtz and Frimpong. Let's see how that goes. United are paying 60-something million pounds for Cunha. Cunha is a decent player, but that's not. If I have 65 million pounds and I'm United, that's not where I'm putting 65 million pounds.
So again, Yinka, United need to look at Brighton, Nottingham Forest, and Brentford and say, what would they do if they finish 17th? You don't have to look too far back.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest just did it. They just finished 17th.
Yeah.
Did Nottingham Forest buy anyone for 65 million pounds? And they went from 17th to 6th?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did they do it? I think they took that 65 million and bought 4 players.
Yep. They really went scouting and got, rejects in some clubs, young players in the other. That's what they did. They spread the funds around.
Yeah. So someone like
you're looking
Cunha,
for cheap gems, not the star player.
You can pay 65 million for Cunha to be a backup at Man City, at Liverpool, at Arsenal, even at Chelsea.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because Chelsea have like 6 players that are roughly on par or better than Cunha.
Yeah.
Man, you have 0. So he's going to go there and be their best player. And if Cunha is your best player, you're not about to win anything. That's the problem.
So, man, you paid 75 for Højlund?
85 or 82 or whatever it was. He's terrible. He's objectively terrible.
Nah, Akin. He's not.
Okay.
This is the problem. I watched him play at Atlanta. I liked him. I liked him.
He was also 18 at the time.
But that's my point. So you need to find a way to unlock him now rather than go pound 65 million
for Cunha. Who is not a center.
Who's not really a center forward.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think anyway. So that's Cunha.
He's gone. Rodrigo to Arsenal. Do you buy it?
So I hear the wages are too high.
How can it be too high? How much is he making?
He's requesting for almost £300,000 a week.
Pay it.
Pay him? Okay, but you're still gonna pay. So the total cost of the deal over a period of time might be. This is what is being reported. Might be outside of Arsenal's, budget. Yeah. But they need a left winger. So it's gonna be Mbeumo. Mbeumo is cheaper than Rodrigo. Is in between Mbeumo, Rodrigo, Semenyo at Bournemouth.
I like Semenyo a lot.
And
Mbeumo is better.
And Nico Williams. Those are the 4. Nico Williams and Rodrigo are way more expensive, but I think those are the 2 that Arsenal are really looking at. But that amount of money. So here's my thing, right? Just don't be like a guy when we go shopping. Don't be like a woman when they go shopping.
Ouch.
That's
You're about to get in trouble for
this
one.
That's the problem. I'll say it's fact, right? Yeah. When you want to go buy stuff.
Don't be like a guy, be like me. I hate shopping. I'm like, why am I here?
No. So what I mean is I have a list of things I need. I enter the mall, I go straight to where I'm gonna get it. I get it and I get out. Yeah. Right? But if I go shopping with my
your better half,
my better half, what then happens is we don't even have a list to start with. Yeah. And we have to go through every damn shop, right? To just see what they have. Arsenal can't do that. You can't be saying, what do you have? What do you have? You need to make up your mind. That's who I want. That's who I'm getting. And you get them. Don't do this. Semenyo might be available. Mbeumo might be available. Come on. Rafael Leao might be available. No.
I like him a lot.
That's my point. You're behaving like my wife at this point.
I like him a lot. But see, that's the thing. As fans, we can do that. But I don't think the club is doing that.
That's what's going on.
But I think that's agents.
Okay, so hear me out.
Yeah.
The first half of the transfer window will open 1st of June or 6th of June. There'll be 2 halves. Then they'll play the World Club. It will shut down and I expect Arsenal to sign almost everybody they need to sign, right? In that first half of the window.
They should.
Just go get it. Do what you have to do. Don't. There are reports that they're still mulling. Is it Šeško? Is it Gyökeres?
We need to talk about that.
And I'm like, no, you can't be doing that.
So, Yinka, I haven't asked you directly.
Yes.
What is wrong with Gyökeres? Why? I mean, he's 26, he's big, he's strong. We've seen the model work with Haaland. We've seen it not work with Højlund.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy bangs in. We talked about it the other day. Yeah. I don't want to overflog this. Why not just go get him? And
so
what am I missing?
We don't know what's going on, but what I think is going on is there's a style of play discussion going on here.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
When teams come to the Emirates, they do what? They lock up.
Yeah.
When Sporting play, that's not what happens to Sporting. Sporting, there's room, there's counter-attack, there's space to burn, right? So maybe the thought process is you need someone with a bit more gal, more fleet-footed, and maybe somebody that is taller, so that when you pull out, Šeško is 6.
I know, but
do you understand? Šeško is less accomplished, more potential,
21,
fleet-footed, is more skillful than Gyökeres.
Yeah,
he's taller than Gyökeres. What Gyökeres has is tenacity. He has pace. And that guy can shoot. Šeško also
6'2". It's not short.
That's Gyökeres.
Yeah.
Right?
6'2" is not short.
Šeško is 6'6" what?
6'5".
6'5".
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going on here. right? And someone reported that there's a difference between Better's position and Arteta's position. It's been refuted. They said that's not true.
But I like that, Yinka. I didn't like the Edu situation where
you sleep and you face in the same direction.
Yeah, or it seemed like Edu would just bring himself to follow the Arteta way, whatever that is. You know. So now you finally have a sporting director with some heft to him, who has done things, who has worked with the people you are trying to be like Simone, right? So I like that. But the Šeško thing, I think it's intriguing to me, right? Because again, we go back to when the world, not us, when the world first saw Isaac.
Yeah.
And we're like, why won't you buy this guy?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, he scored less than 10 goals at Sociedad.
Yeah.
But the movement was already there. The guy was already there.
Yeah.
You know, the body hadn't filled out yet. It wasn't as deadly or whatever. But you could see it. It was also, 19 at the time?
Yeah.
So you have to make, you don't make all your transfers in that mode, but you have to do like one or two for the future.
Yeah.
You know, arguably that's what they did with Martinelli. Yeah. Right? That's what they did with Martinelli. You have to do one of those. So Šeško could be one of those. Only this time, you know, you're playing for, RB is a big enough club. Yeah. You know, and if he's scoring, I don't know how many goals he scored this past season, 14, 15, whatever it is. Yeah. I'm like, what could he do, you know, in your system? Yeah. What could he do?
I think Šeško is a better fit than Gyökeres, personally. But I don't mind Gyökeres also.
But you know who didn't care about fit? City, when they got Haaland. You know, that was not a fit at all. They changed everything for him. They went from Kun Aguero to this guy. That is like, you know, and it worked for them. They beat because the thing is, if you're giving opposing coaches nightmares trying to stop this guy, why don't you want that?
But now you see what's going on with City. When the supplies have dried up.
That's true.
You know, that's the problem.
I don't think that will happen with Arsenal.
No. So I'm just
and then you know what?
I don't think so.
That left wing thing. Yeah. Where's Gyökeres' favorite place to come in from?
Left, actually.
Just from the left. Yeah. So, you know, you don't solve your left wing problem, but you solve maybe half of your left side problem. So I'm like, just don't overthink it. Yeah. If someone is scoring roughly 100 and 100, figure it out later. Yeah. And they've done it over 2 seasons. I mean,
all I'm saying is, and if you get either, I'm not complaining. Be decisive. Don't go shopping all over the place. Julian Alvarez has also been mentioned.
Amazing. Especially the second half of the La Liga season.
And it was said that better, structure the initial deal. Maybe he might be able to put. I'm like, I'm tired of this nonsense. Just get someone.
Yeah, it is good, Yinka. It's like a healthy, taller Jesus. It's really good.
He is.
Anyway. Okay, so any other transfer rumors?
That's it for now. We'll keep our listeners posted as
time check. Good. All right. Let's do a very quick NBA playoff update. Again, today's Tuesday. Yeah. So let's start in the West. We always start in the East. So I believe the Thunder are now 3 games to 1.
3-1. Yeah.
Against, I believe I told you, the Wolves have no chance at all, and you were arguing with me.
Yes, I was.
Okay, so tell the world you're sorry.
Not yet,
because you didn't know what you're talking about.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's not even gonna be close, Yinka.
Not yet.
So for me, I think it was, when you go through the fire and you come out. That's how I saw Oklahoma. I was very worried about Shai, because I'm like, Shai, even in the first round, he wasn't really, and his game relies on referees.
So I can, maybe this is where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Because the whistle in the playoffs is different from the whistle in the regular season.
Yes.
But for Shai, it's the same. It's even better for him in the playoffs.
But you know why?
There's some ridiculous calls that he's getting, Akin.
You could say that, but it's the kind of guy that just shows up. It just keeps showing up. No. So we're not talking about.
I've seen, Akin, you and I, we've watched tons of playoff games.
Yes.
That is why James Harden becomes a non-entity in the playoffs.
But see, here's
because all those tiny calls, the refs swallow the whistle. They're not swallowing for SGA.
Yinka, One, this guy is in 10 times as good a shape as James Harden has ever been in.
Okay,
right?
fair enough.
Have you seen his wingspan?
Yeah, no.
It's like 6'6", 6'7". His wingspan. He plays defense. You know, they're like a college team. They all came up together.
I don't have a problem with Shai. I mean, good for him. I actually like the guy.
He's in shape.
But I'm just looking at it. I'm like, this is not how we whistle.
No, this is. So I think what you're struggling with.
This is not how we blow playoffs, guys.
Yinka, this is what you're struggling with. Is it doesn't look like any other superstar. The way he plays. No.
So he actually, I see a bit of Bryant in him, Kobe. Why? Because
But it's not explosive.
Like no. But when it comes to playoffs, what does Kobe do? Kobe stays in his mid range, right? Yeah. I just need 2 points.
Yeah.
Kobe is going 2 points and ones, 2 points and ones. That is Shai's game. Yeah. He is not the Steph that is bombing threes constantly. Yeah. He knows he's wise the way he plays.
You know who his comp is? His comp is not in basketball.
Okay, who's his comp?
His comp is a quarterback.
Oh, okay. Who?
It's Drew Brees. Dink and dunk.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? He's not, doesn't have a big arm.
Fair enough.
But by the end of the season, he has 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
You know, if you put the right players around him, they've been to the playoffs. You put the right players around him and everything works out, they've won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's just showing up every day. That's his game, really. It's not flashy.
So honestly, the first 2 games, right? I'm like, come on, guys, what's going on here in terms of this whistle? It's not normal for me. Yeah. Then the third game was a no-show for OKC.
Yeah, I missed
right?
that.
Then yesterday's game, right, it was a no-show for Ant-Man, right? No-show for Julius Randle, who's had a decent game 1, 2, and 3. And in the fourth game that was most critical, the 2 of them just decided to take the day off, right? And Chet showed up, Lou Dot showed up, Jason Williams showed up. Was it Jason?
Jalen Williams.
Jalen Williams. Yeah. Jalen Williams showed up, and they spanked Wolves. Yeah. But I'm happy for OKC. Well deserved, right?
They deserve
they deserve it. Yeah. But let's see what happens in Game 5.
I know exactly what's gonna happen. So again, they've been through the fire. I think that's something you're not acknowledging. Like, I don't care what was going on in the background with Denver, but you have Jokic. And for the first time in years, everyone was healthy-ish on Denver. They weren't really missing anyone to start.
Aaron Gordon.
To start.
Okay.
You know, he played 3 full games.
Yeah, but
I believe maybe even 4.
But we understood that he was actually injured.
That's fine.
In the second game,
but he was still instrumental offense. You know, Gordon is my favorite NBA player. I tell you this all the time, right? So, but this is, and now they have like a locomotive of the bench in Westbrook.
Yeah,
this was for me the deepest, Denver team we've seen in a very long time. So this was, and Jokic, people argue this is Jokic's, best season ever. All of it should have been MVP. So I don't want to hear excuses. This guy's punked them. This college kids punked them. So for me, that was the going through the fire phase. Me. That was when I knew, okay, these guys know what they're doing. Timberwolves of 2 seasons ago, maybe. The ones that took the Mavs to however many games. This one, I just didn't see it. But,
we'll see how it goes.
3-1. Congrats in advance.
Okay.
All right. Let's do New York, which is breaking my heart and killing me.
But they won Game 3.
I know. So I haven't watched any of the games.
Okay.
Because, I've been in my hotel and I don't have... I don't have whatever. I don't know how you
League
guys
Pass.
watch NBA here. I don't have it. So I've been following the play-by-play on Google, and that game 1 killed me because when what's his face
Halliburton,
when Halliburton made that and they thought it was a 3, but his foot was on the line.
Yeah,
I'm like, how did we go from being up however many to losing, and then it went to overtime?
He actually double dribbled.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't seen any clips at all. So now what I do is, as I'm following it, I now watch the highlights quarter by quarter, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always like 10 minutes behind or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I understand the Knicks are now down only 1-2. Are you revising your prediction? Do you think the Knicks can still win in 7? I had the Knicks in 7 because I couldn't bring myself to say 6.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
Well, we both had Knicks in 7.
Yeah, I thought you had them in 6. Okay.
I had Knicks in 6.
Yeah.
It was the other one. Okay, it was the other one that we split.
Yeah, I had them in 7 because I really wanted to be 6, but I just couldn't do it.
So, Tyrese Haliburton is the most unusual. What's the adjective? What's the proper one to use? Yeah. Is the most unlikely superstar-ish
is a
kind
superstar.
of player.
You have to give it to him. At this point, he's earned it. He's earned it because he knows who he is.
Yeah,
he's not trying to be.
Yeah, And you look at that Pacers roster, and you're like, y'all shouldn't be here. You have no business.
But you know what they have?
Yeah,
they have many guys who are like way above average.
Yeah.
And they don't have egos.
Fair point.
Again, what's winning right now, Yinka, is the college thing.
Yeah.
It's working for the Knicks. It's working for the Pacers. Technically, that's who the Celtics are too. They have 2 superstars who don't act like superstars.
Yeah.
That collegial thing is there. That's what OKC is. Jokic is a normal guy. Gordon went to Serbia with him.
Went horse racing.
So when your leader in the clubhouse is Jokic, everyone feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Westbrook went there and immediately he knew he had to find his place in there. He couldn't bring all that disruption. You saw how crazy Gordon went at one reporter who said something about Westbrook.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's winning right now. I think the era, I'm not going to say it's permanent, but I think the era of the outsized personalities and all that, I think it's going away with LeBron and Steph. And Steph was a collegial guy too. I'm not a fan, but I can give credit where it's due. So I think that's who is winning. That's people who put teams right, put teams together the right way.
Yeah.
I think that's who's winning.
I think I agree with you. But the Pacers, Haliburton, this tall guy, the center, what's his name again?
Miles.
Yeah, Miles. And there's a Mac, whatever, that shot wide. That comes off the bench. Forgotten his name.
I forgot his name too.
Those guys, come on. If the Knicks can't get past this, then they deserve whatever comes their way. I'm sorry. Y'all deserve whatever comes your way.
I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but I was worried about facing the Pacers.
Oh, really?
I mean, I've been talking to Ayinda. I wanted to face the Cavs because I knew the Cavs were a fraud. I didn't know they were done in 5 games kind of fraud.
Yeah.
But I knew they were a fraud. I was worried because the Pacers were the most like the Knicks. They were deep. I thought they were better natural shooters than the Knicks. I was worried. Because Ayinda and I were talking about this. I'm like, I would rather play the Cavs. I did not want to play because we can just focus on their one superstar.
Yeah.
Who else is gonna beat us? Yeah. They played 5 games. No other person showed up on any other night.
But I thought the injuries affected Cavs. So
yes.
Darius, what's his name?
Garland
was injured.
But Garland wouldn't do anything against the Knicks. What would he do? What would he do?
Well, since he's not there, we will never know.
Anyway. But the Pacers are like 9 deep.
Yeah.
They just keep going. It's crazy. It's almost like the Celtics. They're just deep.
Quick question there.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you think he deserves the MVP?
So I said I would say I gave it to him from like about halfway through. First. Michael Jordan won only 5 MVPs.
Yeah.
I say only because he could have won 10.
Yeah.
He won 10 scoring titles. He only won 5 MVPs. He won 6 finals MVPs. Kobe Bryant won only 1. Shaq won only 1. Steve Nash won 2, which is a joke.
Should have been 0.
Should have been 0. Really should have been 0. One should have been Shaq's. One should have been Kobe's.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan won 2. Yes, he won 2. The first one should have been
3.
Maybe 3. You might be right. It might be. I'm not sure. But the first one, the strike season in '99, should have been Malone.
Yeah.
And Malone's one the season before should have been Jordan's.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say, I understand why people don't want to give it to Jokic again.
Yeah.
He has 3.
Yeah.
Now, they gave it to the wrong person the one time they didn't give it to him, Embiid.
Yeah.
And Embiid hasn't been the same since he chased that MVP.
Yeah.
It was like he was playing for the MVP. And basketball gods don't like that.
Yeah.
But this season, I think it was really only 3 candidates in it, right? It was Jokic, it was SGA. I would say
some people say Giannis.
Maybe Giannis. Maybe Giannis. He didn't get a lot of help.
Didn't get a lot of help.
You know?
Am I even putting the Cavs young man in there?
I would put him there.
Yeah.
I would put the Cavs guy there. But for me, I think it's obviously because the Thunder won 15 more games. 15 more games than Denver. So for me, best player by far.
Yeah.
On the best team by far.
Yeah.
We're done. His game doesn't look pretty. You know,
I like his game. I don't know why
a lot of people
say
don't
because he doesn't shoot threes. He's
efficient. So he's not crazy athletic. You know, he's okay athletic.
He's efficient.
I know, but people don't
take the dunks away from Kobe. I will say this again. SGA is the closest we have seen to Kobe Bryant.
But Kobe is way more athletic, and not just in dunks.
No.
Even defensively.
That's what I meant. Take out the athleticism. But in the the scoring, the footwork, the fouls. Come on, man.
I'm the best player on this team, and I need to go get buckets.
Yeah. And those herky-jerky moves. You know, stop, dribble, stop. Nah, it's not.
It's almost like you don't see him. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know what I mean?
You don't see the points, and you look up and he has 30.
I'm like, how?
How? How did he get a 30?
It could have 30 points with no highlights.
Yeah. I don't mind. That's basketball.
And I hate that we keep saying the Cleveland guy.
Donovan Mitchell.
Thank you. Because Mitchell will have a highlight.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Mitchell will have like multiple dunks.
Yeah. It will have a highlight. He'll be falling down, throw something. You know. So I think that's why. His game is old school. And it's Canadian. That has something to do with it too.
I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's had a fantastic season. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. Especially going through what happened, Clippers trading him, thinking he wasn't, and anything that happens to the Clippers and they're crying, I'm happy.
Who did they trade him for again? Was it Paul George?
I think it was Paul George.
Paul George. Paul George went from OKC.
Paul George went from OKC to
Shai
LA.
Plus 7
Shai
picks.
plus whoever.
Literally 7 picks. Yeah.
Now look at it.
And
now someone said it's interesting that the finals will most likely be for teams, or will include teams that rejected Paul George.
Yes, because Halliburton also came through a trade. It wasn't directly.
Yeah.
So they traded George for what became Sabonis.
I can't remember who.
No. Paul George left.
Mm-hmm.
They got Sabonis through the draft, and then they traded Sabonis for Halliburton. So I guess they both should thank Paul George.
All of them should thank Paul George. Anyway.
All right. Okay, Yinka.
Yes,
I think
sir.
we're done. Donkey of the week.
It's everything United.
Yeah.
Everything United is the donkey of the week. Yeah. The fans, the hierarchy, the players, the coach, everything United, donkey of the week.
As smart as you are, Yinka.
Yes, sir.
There's something you didn't mention.
Which is?
They're the only team that lost 4 times to Spurs this season. Like, how is this possible? You lost 4 times to the 17th place team.
It's horrible.
In your league.
It's horrible. Y'all should just do better, United. Across board, just do better.
Just blow the whole thing. Play the kids.
Play the kids.
Could they have finished 15th with the academy team?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I would say.
Just blow everything up. Now everybody's raking. The fans are angry. And I'm like, y'all were happy a week ago. Y'all were ecstatic a week ago. You were like, we're going to Europe now. And I told you, I warned you guys.
Did say that.
I warned you. Said this hope is what is deceiving you people. Better win that game. I warned them. I'm looking at the camera. I'm telling y'all. I warned you guys. Better win that game. And you lost it. Now everybody's either silent, in despair, or probably in depression at this point. The whole United hierarchy is anyway.
You know the saddest part is you look at the summer coming up and they're not even gonna be interesting. there is no player that everybody wants, or really that anybody wants, that will go to United.
Which is why they're paying 60-something million from Cunha, and they want to quickly get it done.
Yeah. That's probably the best player they're gonna get. And he's okay.
He's okay.
He can score 13 goals a season.
Yep. He can.
You're gonna need 26.
Wolves will finish ahead of United next season. So.
Yeah. I mean, what was Wolves' position?
They did. They finished ahead of United this season.
Oh my gosh. That's not good. They were in relegation when Cunha re-signed with them.
I think they're ahead of. Okay, United finished ahead of them.
So that means they came 16th.
Same points.
They came
16th.
All right.
42.
42, and then Tottenham 38. This is amazing. Minus 10. We clowned them last season for their goals difference of -1 and -2 for most of the season.
Yeah,
they finished with minus 10.
Spurs -1.
Man, Spurs were 9 goals better than them. This is crazy. Spurs scored 20 more goals than they did. This is insane.
I told you.
Spurs lost 22 games.
I told you.
Man, you lost 18. How is this possible?
Now the silence is deafening.
Amazing.
The silence is deafening. You saw this on the group. The usual I was shocked. I just didn't bother to say anything. You know? And even online, the silence deafening.
Amazing.
Right? Then the reality sets in and the anger starts. If you go on United, the popular United guys, Goldbridge, Sahid, all those guys, get on their channel. They're angry. Ouch. And I'm like, I told you people. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Yinka,
yes,
take
sir.
us home.
Thanks, guys. This has been fun. This man will be coming to Nigeria a lot more, so we'll be doing more of these in-studio sessions, and hopefully next time we will get a guest. So please, whenever this episode comes out, you know what to do. Watch, comment, share, tell your friends about us, and also the episode we recorded that you must have watched by now. Please, support the kids. They did a decent job. We're really, really, really proud of them. That's thank you very much, everyone. It's been fun. And Aki.
Yeah, thank you, Yinka. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you next time. And goodbye.
Bye, people.